The debt ceiling will be handled over a period of months. The Secretary of the Treasurer has a number of what we call tools in his toolbox. I made it very clear after the November election we're certainly not going to shut down the government or default on the national debt. We'll figure some way to handle that, and hopefully it might carry some other important legislation that we can agree on in connection with it.
Back on America's Forum with Miranda Kahn, J.D. Hayworth here. You just heard Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell there on Face the Nation, hoping against hope that there's some sort of solution to raising the debt limit.
Yeah, Senator McConnell has promised to raise the debt limit without threatening a default or shutdown.
But could there be things that could be added to the debt limit that maybe Republicans want to see and Democrats are loath to vote yes on? And could that mean a conservative breakthrough rather than a rollover? Let's find out by calling on my old congressional colleague, Pete Hoekstra, who represented Michigan so capably and capped his time on the Hill as the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee. So, Pete, you're joining us from Newsmax Washington. You're gathering intelligence up on the Hill. Does Mitch have something up his sleeve?
Well, I'm sure Mitch has something up his sleeve. He always does. He really is a master of how the Senate works, the rules, and all of those types of things. Whether he'll actually be able to get it done is a totally different question. It's going to be very difficult. You know, what we've seen for the first 3 months of this year is that it has been confrontational politics on every issue, whether it's the funding for the Department of Homeland Security, whether it is Netanyahu coming to speak to Congress, or it's the Iranian deal. I think a breakthrough is going to be very, very difficult.
What do you think he has up his sleeve, if you were a betting man?
Well, I think, what he's looking for are some things that Republicans can rally around, and as J.D. said, will be seen as a win by the Republican base, that the Democrats are going to, they don't want to vote yes on it, but, they're going to be in a position where maybe they have to vote yes. But, it's very difficult. I can't quite perceive exactly what that issue might be. It might be something to do with immigration. It may be something to do with, with taxes and those types of things. But when you're talking about the debt ceiling, it's hard to force the president and the Democrats to do something. I think a more effective tool for a breakthrough might be the budget resolution, where you can do reconciliation and get things done with less than 60 votes.
Now, the real temptation, Pete, of course, for us as former legislators is to get down in the weeds on this, but attitudinally, and maybe you hear this at home when you go back to Michigan or talk to people around the country, the Republican base is really dispirited, angry with Leader McConnell, angry with Speaker Boehner over what they perceive as rolling over. Is this perceived again as rolling over on raising the debt ceiling?
Well, let's see exactly what happens, but I think your analysis is exactly right. But it's not only the base, our base voters back home that are frustrated. It's also many members of the House and the Senate on the Republican side who are frustrated that they can't negotiate with this president, and they continue to be frustrated. Now, you saw it yesterday again. I mean, the shallowness of this administration, when I think is demonstrated yesterday when the Secretary of State comes out and says, yeah, there's nothing legally binding about this agreement with Iran. And most of what this president has done has been by executive action and can be undone by the next president of the United States. But they're more than willing to take executive action as their preferred course of action and just forget about Congress.
Yes, but bear in mind there are still 47 Republicans that are still getting an awful lot of heat for sending that letter to Iran, being accused of basically doing the same thing that President Obama is being accused of doing.
That's right. And what the Republicans in the Senate are demonstrating is the president is saying, I'm going to act unilaterally through executive action. Speaker Boehner has demonstrated that by inviting Netanyahu to speak to the joint session. The senators displayed this yesterday with the letter saying, yes, President, you have your tools, but we are not neutered. We have our own tools in Congress, and we're going to use them. What the Senate Republicans did is not unprecedented. Democrats have done the same thing. They've met with Saddam Hussein. They went after President Reagan with the Contra affair down in Central America. Republicans need to just fight back and point this out, and I think they'll be fine.
We'll see if the GOP fights back. In the meantime, we will be right back. More with Pete Hoekstra, and Tim Constantine will join us next on America's Forum.